Hi, thanks for joining me for another video. So in this video, I want to talk to you about something I've mentioned many times, okay, over the past several months, and that is, and I'm going to also mention some visions and messages I've had, as I've shared previously, to consolidate, to affirm this message, okay? So the concept that I want to talk to you about is, again, one I've mentioned previously, and that is that of the eternal child, and that God, all that is, source, our creator, looks at us all as its eternal children, okay? It sees us, none of us are condemned. We are all loved unconditionally. Everything is loved unconditionally, with no exceptions. There is no hell. There is no eternal damnation for anyone or divine punishment. You know, being here is punishment enough. No, I'm joking. But no, but we are, there is no hell. Okay, there's no hell. There's no hell. God loves everything. The love that is woven into its creation is, I mean, indescribable. Its intelligence, its love, its compassion is infinite, inexhaustible. Every time I feel like I have come to the end, or I'm worried that I'm about to sort of deplete myself completely, God comes through, or our friends in spirit come through, our friends on the other side, guides, of various kinds. Jesus has also come through at times. I mean, every day over the last few months, Jesus has been, supportive. There are lots of beings out there who want to offer that support to everybody, okay, or anybody who's open to it. Not everybody is looking for that or is open to, it. There's still, nonetheless, they encourage people to go into that consciousness because it's about relief of suffering. It's not about how can I say it, like glorifying oneself with spiritual achievements or whatever. It's about love, it's about compassion and grace. Like I said, every time I feel like I'm about, because there are times where I get right to the bone, things where, almost to the bone, where I'm just completely, I'm working really hard to try and, because I've been through so much. Again, it's not about me, but God always, I always come through, always in some way or another. I receive that support, that I pray for, or that I'm asking for. And so, again, I'm not religious. I just want to make that really clear to you, that I'm not religious, okay? I'm not religious. I'm very spiritual. My approach to spirituality is more like, how can I say it? I take bits and pieces from everywhere. That I love Jesus. Jesus is fab. I love Jesus' example. He's a fantastic guide to humanity. So I love Jesus. I love, I like Buddhism as well. Okay, I like teachings in Buddhism, a lot of teachings in Buddhism. Okay, I like Hinduism. Again, this isn't about me sort of showing, I'm just trying to give you a context, just to say, the point is that these messages are for everybody, okay? They're supposed to be for everyone. They're not just for one group of people. They're for everyone. And Judaism, also, I mean, there have been some times where I feel like there have been times in the past where I've sort of connected with some of them, the concepts, and in their religion as well. So again, I don't align with any particular belief system. Hinduism has influenced me a lot as well, a lot. But again, and Islam, of course. What I'm trying to say, and also I was an atheist once upon a time. And so what I'm trying to say is that, like, basically, God, there's no one group of people. Let's put it this way: if God can reach me, like, if God can, if, like, again, the fact that I'm the fact that I'm the fact that I don't have a religious affiliation, and yet I've been able to experience all this sort of this interaction again. And this is not about merit or anything. This is literally like a confluence of influences, an intersection of things. And like I said, a lot of suffering has come with that. Okay, a lot of suffering. But again, I don't want to be the story. It's not about me in any way. Okay, it's not, and it isn't. I mean that. But the point is to pass on what could be helpful to others. What could save people a lot of suffering. We need to take the dogma out of this bit and the doctrine, okay, and make this a more universally appealing message, and it is a universal message, okay, because it is who we are. It's truth, it is who we are. This is who we are, okay. We are souls. We are human beings having a spirit. We're souls having a spiritual, human experience, as they say, and not the other way around. We're not human beings. We're not. We came here. We are fundamentally, we are not of this body. With this body is part of our experience on this planet, but it doesn't define us ultimately. Okay, we are souls, and none of us are condemned. We're here for an experience. God is aware of all the influences and the variables and the ways in which God is keenly interwoven into all things. It experiences things with us. Basically, it is aware of all things that are happening simultaneously across all creation, because it's part of it all. But that, of course, we still have forgiving souls, okay, of course. But like I said, God's awareness is infinite, and it knows all things. It knows how we are affected. It knows it's obviously its intelligence is beyond our comprehension. It's again, it knows everything simultaneously. Okay, everything is simultaneously understood by God, and aware, and it has that awareness of everything that's happening. And again, simultaneously across in all experiences, has like a simultaneous awareness. Okay, is what I'm kind of feeling about that. But it's very, very interesting anyway, nonetheless, to think that that God again has such an awareness. And this is the important thing I find, that it can afford compassion for people from all, and understanding for people from all kinds of circumstances. Like I said, you don't have to tick a checklist to get into heaven, okay, or like to go to the afterlife. You will go regardless, okay. You are not, there's nobody standing there at a gate saying you can't go in, okay. Or you're not allowed to go to heaven because you didn't do this. You're gonna have to go back, or you have to go to hell, or something like that. There's nobody doing that, okay. That's not the way. It's like I said, its awareness is such that it understands the mechanics of things, and the why and the how of everything very intricately, and it's very bound up with all things. It knows everything, okay. It knows all things, everything. There's nothing. So in that sense, like I said, it knows the whys. It knows it knows everything without us, with and without, and how can I say this? Forgive me. Without the need to take even, I think, like a fraction, a microsecond, I don't know, is that a microsecond, a unit, whatever. It's like it's there. It doesn't even need, it knows, again, its awareness is such that, like I said, it knows it knows everything is such that, again, and its depth is so profound that that unconditional love is not even something, I mean, it's given, it's, how can I say it, it's 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 just, again, unconditional, not thought about. All things are known and understood simultaneously, not even a second thought given to offering, to loving its creation, because it knows, or it is so, again, is so aware of all, like I said, all the whys, the mechanics of things, why things have happened in our lives, what's influenced those things, why things happened in a certain way, our choices, our decisions. And that's the other thing, is that actually there is a sense of we have an awareness, we have some how can I say it, we choose to come here for this experience. It's aware when we on the other side see a bigger picture than we do here. Okay, on the other side we see a bigger picture. Okay, we feel it intuitively, we can see it, we have some of the awareness that I mean, some of, I say some of it with a very, I mean, but we can see a bigger picture. Okay, when we pass on, we can see a bigger picture, we can see that things work together in a certain way, that we had a role, or we have a role, or we could have a role somewhere in some part of this. Again, it's all very intuitive. Like I said, why am I talking about this? I'm talking about it because it's important. It's important because it gives a metaphysical context, some metaphysical context for why. And I'm not saying that I know everything, okay? But it gives metaphysical context to why to the eternal child concept, okay? Because I know it flies in the face of doctrine, of established doctrines, okay? That, that nobody, again, you don't have to tick off some checklist to go to heaven, okay? There's no hell, and everything serves, and I'm not saying everything, people, hell has a purpose. As a concept, it's had a purpose, or rather it has a reason. Like, there's a reason why that came up, and there's an important, and all that is, and this is how beautiful all that is God, okay? All that is loves everything so perfectly and so fundamentally that it appreciates and finds the love. It can bring love into all kinds of things like that. I mean, it doesn't judge. It's not judging. It doesn't judge us, okay, and say, you shouldn't believe in hell, and I can't understand why you believe in hell, and I don't see the reason why you believe in hell, okay? It understands, and it appreciates all the reasons and the story, the whys and the complexities, and how can I say it loves and respects all its creation, and understands that everything has its purpose and place, and that we have come up with these things, and there's a reason why. It gives respect and sort of appreciation, or just, and unconditional love. Again, I'm not saying that it doesn't want us to be relieved of suffering, because it does, okay? It does want that, but it also has, like I said, it can afford an appreciation, sorry, forgive me, an appreciation and a depth of understanding that is profound. I mean, beyond, it's unconditional. So people who believe in things like hell, and all these other concepts, associated concepts, are very, are very much understood by God, all it is, source, our creator. They are understood, they're appreciated, they know why this has happened, okay, that it serves a purpose. or that it's happened for a reason, that there's a story behind that, and that it matters. Okay, so even people, this is what I mean about unconditional love. It's unconditional for a reason. Like, it's unconditional in the sense that it doesn't matter what you believe in, or what you're, again, or whether you agree with God, you believe in God or not. You don't have to believe in God for God to exist. God is, and you'll soon find out when you pass on that that is true. Okay. So you don't have to believe in God to go to heaven. Okay, you don't have to believe in God to go to the afterlife. You don't have to believe in anything to do that. God isn't sat there, like I said, with a checklist saying, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't say this, you didn't treat this person. God isn't doing that. Like, there's no, or angels, sorry, angels have that role, don't they? I think more than God. But there's nobody sat there doing that. We have guides, yes, and the angels are real, but they're not. Again, they're not going to throw us into the pits of hell if we don't say the right things, believe the right things, do the right things. Everything serves and everything is appreciated. Everything is understood fundamentally by God. In such a profound way. Its infinite intelligence and love and wisdom is, again, effortlessly, without it is. It just is. It doesn't even need to think, or it doesn't need to calculate it. It is. Okay? It is. That's how incredible it is. Okay? That's how incredible it really is. Okay? It is. There's no need for it to think it or process it necessarily. Not necessarily. It is, because it knows and is with everything simultaneously, and its intelligence is such that it has, and its awareness is, again, like, just, again, it knows everything. Okay, without. So I hope that makes sense. I'm not articulating that as I'm feeling it, because I'm feeling it and it's incredible. Okay, it's an incredible feeling, like, sort of, even just touching base with that, just it's unfathomable just how much, like, I don't know, it's incredible, really. It makes me sort of, it's very, it's beautiful. But so, yeah, so, okay, why am I laying this groundwork down? I'm doing it again because, like I said, the eternal child concept is very important. Okay, the reason I'm laying it down is because I believe that there are probably, with regards to disclosures specifically, so UAP, the UAP disclosures, non-human, the issues around UAP, NHI, advanced technology, planetary changes like the geophysical events, and AMOC decline, all these things interrelated, the Epstein files. Now, how are we going to move on this planet? Okay, we've got a human trauma cycle, which is basically, and conflict cycle, which has, blighted our world for a long time. We all feel the effects of it in some way or another. Okay, whether it's through war, whether it's through poverty, whether it's through trauma, abuse, alcoholism, addictions, whatever it is, depression, other forms of mental affliction. We all feel this in some way or another. Okay, we're all affected by it in some way or another. And how do we resolve that? And I don't believe that putting people in jail, okay, is the answer. Okay, and I know that's some people thinking, well, some of these people have committed horrendous crimes and so on. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't try to correct things in the sense that people shouldn't be encouraged to take responsibility, through rehabilitation, for instance, for their behavior. Okay, or and I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that we can afford universal amnesty if we take the approach that God, we look at things through the eyes of God, or try to appreciate things in that sense, where there is unconditional compassion and awareness that it's not our fault, or it's not people's fault, okay, what they've done, okay, what they've been through is not their fault. If we apply a consciousness informed and compassionate perspective to this, we can look at this very differently and see each other anew. Putting people in prison, and that's not even going to work, okay, because it's going to drive some people. You're not going to get everybody, first of all, and you're going to drive some people more further underground. And what do we want to do? We want to uproot, and we want to end this trauma cycle, okay, this blame and trauma, this cycle of suffering on the planet. Just throwing people in jail, like I said, is not the answer, okay, if we want to do that. And it's not people's fault that that's the case at the moment, but I think we have the opportunity for something different here. There's something could radically, fundamentally change the way we do things. Then the other aspect to this, okay, so bear in mind, like I said, no condemnation from God, none whatsoever. God loves all things unconditionally, okay? There is no eternal damnation. Nothing is going to happen. Again, we are all understood, okay? God wants us all to know that we are its eternal children. It wants us to know that it loves us unconditionally. Wants us to know that, okay? So what's the other aspect to this that's important? The influence and identifying the influence of the phenomenon is very important, and consciousness insight is important as well. So I believe that the phenomenon. The truth is, the phenomenon are astral entities. Okay, they are on the astral plane. Okay, they interact with us through consciousness. They don't interact. I do not believe that they are physical beings. Okay, I don't believe that we have crashed UAP. We've recovered crashed UAP. Okay, I believe that they are non-physical beings, and I'm not saying that physical UAP don't exist, but my feeling is that that much of this is man-made, but also the truth is that the phenomenon are on the astral plane, okay? They are on the astral plane, okay? They're on the astral. They, forgive me, they influence humanity through consciousness, okay? And sometimes detrimentally so, okay, as I have found. They have the ability to manipulate perception. They have the ability to manipulate thought, to manipulate experience and emotion, okay? And the fact that secret societies have